And thanks for bringing me back. I spoke last time on couples conflicts from a neurobiological standpoint, which is a big term for brain science.
Tell me when you say.
I'm ready.
Okay, good.
I thought I started.
Stay back.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Don Ferguson. I'm a psychologist. I work with infinite relationships and do couples work and also corporate stuff with CEO consulting services. I want to talk about group dynamics when groups are going through periods of change and transition. You may realize that the brain is designed to respond to threat in a very specific way. It wants to narrow down its perceptions to where it's dealing with self-protection, not mission accomplishment, self-protection. Humans respond to change in any organization or group in a variety of ways. They may be delighted by the change, they may be fascinated, or they may be horrified. And quite often a leader will find that they're both, that the same person may evidence the same qualities and get all kinds of mixed messages. And we're trying to get you to not take that personally. I'm talking about you all as leaders, by the way, because you all will be. In any group, in any change, some members of the group will perceive the change as a breach of contract, a breach of the psychological contract. This can be entirely puzzling to a leader who doesn't know that they signed a psychological contract. They never saw this thing. But there's the perception that you're going to protect me, that my job will be safe, I'll keep my office, etc. The ideal merger is presented as two groups colluding to become a more effective organization, a more powerful, efficient, financially stable organization, whereas the group may perceive that quite differently and see the dangers of this merger not being a positive thing, but being a little bit more drastic in terms of losing identity, losing role, losing position, maybe losing your job. And often leaders are so pushing forward towards what they see as the goal and the vision that they lose track of the fact that the group may be quite frightened. Group responses, because this is an individual process of the brain narrowing, groups will respond in primitive tribal ways. If the danger is coming from the outside, they will resort to groupthink. If it's coming from the inside outward, they'll push into subgrouping and push away from each other. I'm going to skip through a couple of these. Groupthink is the idea of being pressured to feel positively about your group at all costs. And that may mean ignoring the fire in the hallway. It may mean ignoring evidence that things are not so great. And the pressure is to be good and to be positive. So every group subgroups. And one group may feel very, very positively about what's going on and the change that's happening. So that may be a subgroup. Another group may feel a little less positive about the coming change and see the transition as much more dangerous. And that will split the groups in that way. But often, what surprises leaders is the splits in the group may have nothing to do with mission or the reality of the change. Your bowlers will stop talking to your knitters. The severity of the splits in the group will tell you how pathological, how harmed your group is. Look at Congress. The depressive stance group is a group that assembles to talk about how awful it is, how hopeless it is. To be a member of the wine and cheese party, you must agree that it's hopeless. Don't talk about changes and positives. That will not be welcomed. The most dangerous form of subgrouping, in my view, is scapegoating, where the group, in a sense, elects one person and says, if Bob would just do his job, we would be fine. Everything would be perfect here. It's another form of groupthink, except it sacrifices someone. Often the scapegoat volunteers for that role in some manner. That doesn't mean it works. It's still dangerous. Another way the group will respond is to idealize the leader. This is always dangerous. It feels good to know that dad's going to take care of you, mom's going to watch out for you. If you're ever placed in that position, watch out, because the opposite side of idealization is hatred. You will receive mixed messages. My own dear Ma. You will receive mixed messages, and the trick is to not take it personally. The successful leader will be the one who can step back and see this a little bit as a game and see that these are normal, tribal, human responses and not a personal issue. In any group, during a change, you'll have a small contingent that loves everything about you and the company and everything else, and it'll descend to a group that hates you, the company, and everything else. The problem with that is that far end continuum, that 2.15% continuum that hates everybody, is angry, will have a magnetism to it. I know this is a dated image. They will draw your attention. They will make you stay awake at night. You'll be focused on who they are, and it's exactly the wrong way to use your energy. You should be thinking about them in terms of going to your happy place. If your happy place is envisioning them being hit by a bus, that's for you. The more prominent idea is perhaps thinking about how do you draw that center more positively. You ignore your center at your own peril. The group needs you to fill many roles as a leader. One is as a cheerleader. They need somebody that gives them the vision, that shows them where this thing is going to go, why it's important, how are they going to benefit, and is excited about it. But the group also needs you to recognize that they are facing losses and dangers. They need a chief mourner, and this is in the terms of Harvard Business School, that talks about the CEO as a chief mourner, the person who culturally can lead the group through change and recognize that there are injuries and losses that the leader may not have any clue about. I know this is a very quick outline, but I think this stuff is really exciting and it's more manageable if you can depersonalize it a little bit. I'm Don Ferguson. I'm with Infinite Relationships and CEO Consulting Services. There's contact information and schedules of our programs at the back and on the table back there, and I thank you much.